An average African will want to be a proper Christian, but the problem is there is a tradition, and this tradition is tied to the African religion. And if for somebody become a Christian, that person will be faced with the challenge of the tradition. In most cases, the tradition will hold that person down, and that person will sometimes denounce Christianity or practice the two religions together. That is practicing Christianity and African religion altogether. The reason is because the tradition are hard to break, and many Africans are not ready to break the tradition. This is why it is very difficult to become a pure Christian in Africa, unless the person is a stranger, is not an African person. If you are a foreigner living in Africa, you can practice your Christianity in a proper way, but a real African person will find it difficult, especially those who doesn't understand the impact of tradition in Christianity. That is the impact of African tradition in Christianity. Somebody like me that understands all these things, I can practice Christianity wholeheartedly and in a proper way because I know how to deal with the tradition. Now, some of the Africans, they were able to deal with African tradition at the young age, but when they grow old, that's when they will be faced with that difficult challenges. Because at old age, many people are considered as chiefs or they become elders, and these elders are forced to practice traditions and they can't escape that tradition. This is where their Christianity will start going down, and in some cases their Christianity will completely be over. Now, as for me, I'm not afraid of that because even at my old age, I'll be able to conquer tradition. This is because I understand everything about tradition and how it started and the impact it has on Christianity. And I have decided to be a proper Christian. And starting from this young age, I've started finding a way to defend myself against the tradition and how to conquer the tradition at old age. And by the grace of God, I'm progressing, and I shall defeat or conquer the tradition at old age, so that my Christianity will not be hindered or affected by traditions. Now, I want to teach many Christians how to defeat the tradition or defend themselves against the tradition. But before that, you need to know why African tradition is very bad. The practices themselves or the tradition themselves are not completely bad, but the thing that made it to become bad is the origin of this tradition. Who made this tradition to become effective? Now, many of you will say that it is our ancestors that made it perfect, or they are the one who started the tradition. They gave us the tradition as guidance to the children. But one thing that you don't know is that our ancestors do not impose any tradition on us without consulting the gods. The gods are the ones that will tell the ancestors what to do about the tradition and how the tradition will be effective. And after appeasing to the gods, they will make some sacrifice, and when the gods accepted it, then the tradition will stand. This is why if you break a tradition in Africa, you'll be faced with consequences, and the consequences are always spiritual consequences. Why is there spirituality involved in the tradition? This is because the gods are the ones that signed it. They are the ones that approve it, not our ancestors directly. It is the gods of our ancestors that approve the traditions. So if you are breaking the tradition, you are fighting against the gods of the land. And this is why many elders in Africa will not want to face the consequences because of fear of the spiritual consequences. So they want to please the gods of the land by obeying the traditions. Now, if you are a Christian and you don't want to obey the tradition, it will be very hard, except you make your own tradition for your own family. Your entire family will deviate from the African tradition and follow your own pattern of tradition. And this tradition must be from the Bible. And if your tradition comes from the Bible, make sure that you have faith and you are a true believer of God, so that when the African gods are trying to fight you, you'll be able to defend yourself, or God will fight for your case. Just like the way God is fighting for my own case right now. So many times the African gods will come to attack me and they will fail. This is because I I believe in God and God is protecting me against them. I don't practice anything that's related to African tradition. All the traditions that African people practice, I don't do them. And the ones that many Africans are confused about, they don't know the influences, is pouring of libation. When they pour libation, the meaning of the libation is that, or the role of the function of the libation is to attract ancestors, the spirits of the ancestors. Many Africans will think that their ancestors are the one accepting their libation, but the truth is that the ancestors are not the one accepting the libation. It is the gods of the land that accept libations. And when you pour a libation as a Christian, you have completely defiled yourself. A Christian must not pour libation in any form. But at old age, you'll be forced to do it. At old age, especially when you are considered as an elder in African society, you'll be forced to do it. And if you don't do it, a lot of charges will be placed against you. That's the first option. And the second option is that if you don't pour libation, somebody will pour it on your behalf. And if you allow somebody to pour the libation on your behalf, it means that you have already agreed with them to practice the tradition. Okay, so if you want to know more about this, you contact me and I will teach you how to fight against the tradition or defend yourself against it.